So good evening, everybody. Welcome tonight to our SALT Teens and Me. We have tonight our speaker. This whole month we've been talking about what happens when we're gone, what's going to happen with our children, how do we plan for when we're gone. And I thought I would bring in tonight, we wanted to bring in someone on assisted technology. So when our children, our adult children, when they get to that point that they may be living on their own, we want to know, or maybe they'll still be living with someone, but we want to know what can we do like to prepare for that? What assistive technology or what is out there that we can use for them to live safely on their own, or even if they're living with somebody or an apartment or a side duplex with somebody. I mean, there's various ways our child might be living independently. But so I brought in SafeinHome. We have Mark Prohaska.
You got it.
From SafeinHome. He's the district manager there. And I put the information there in the chat box. Hopefully you all can see it. I did put a link to our Google Salt Drive too, and it has the presentation he'll be using for today. So you can reference that. It's a link to a presentation, and there's also some links to our resources. So with that, I'm going to for those who don't know me, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Patty Schramm. I'm the Parent Resource Trainer Coordinator for the SALT Talks program. And tonight with SALT Teens and Me, it's kind of a combination of, it's a shorter meeting, but it's a combination of parents and students or individuals attending tonight, and some staff. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Mark, and you're all set to share your screen whenever you're ready.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, thank you everyone for having me. I am from SafeinHome, a remote supports company here throughout the state of Ohio. And we've been supporting quite a few people throughout Ohio since about 2017 is when we started helping individuals live their best life in terms of independence and self-determination. And so today I'm going to get to show you some information, hopefully answer some questions. And to start things off, really, I've got I think a really cool video of Emma and her family, and it speaks to how remote supports with assistive technology have helped her live the life that she's wanting in terms of her own apartment or her own place, that sort of thing. So I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. Also to let you know, I won't be able to see everybody while I'm sharing. So if you have a question, I know Patty's on the lookout for any chats that come through or anybody that raises a hand, whatever it might be, feel free. Patty will yell at me and tell me to stop and answer the questions, or at the end we'll have time as well. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and share the video of Emma and her family. It's about 5 minutes in length, but really, really cool. We get to support her on a day-to-day basis. Patty, if for some reason video or audio can't, just please let me know and we'll work through that, but I think we've got it all ready to go. So 1 second here. Okay, so we're going to hit play now.
She has a seizure disorder, and she is what we refer to as an unreliable speaker. So she has some speech.
Hi, Fanny. It's been a nice day out.
She's developing more and more as she gets older and is more fluent with the letterboard and her communication. She is getting more kind of organic speech, which is actually what she wants to say. But like a lot of autistics, a lot of what she says is not what she wants to say.
Hey Emma. Hello, good morning.
Say good morning. Do you think so?
Early diagnosis, it was very intense. There's just no other way around it. It wasn't really very easy to leave the home. We had 2 other children, and she seemed to be in distress a lot of the time. There was a lot of screaming, and she had no reliable way to communicate with us. She was having seizures, and she was very unhappy, very distressed, and so were we. She had never been formally taught in school, and one of her early responses to us was that, I have been listening all of my life. Yeah, it's overwhelming to a parent, right? I remember the first Christmas after we started using the letterboard, our speech therapist, Elizabeth, asked, what do you want for Christmas? And she said, oh, my parents have given me everything I need or want. What I'd really like is for my mother to read to me. But the minute we knew and she made that request, the journey began, and it was very exciting. And I asked her if she could ever see herself living in her own apartment, and she said, yes, that's absolutely what I want for my life. I want that life. And that was when we had to start thinking of everything differently. Because after someone communicates something to you, we needed to make it happen. We need to deliver on that promise. So we didn't have a lot of this figured out when we moved in, but we kind of made the jump and then we figured it out. And fortunately, early in that journey, we came across our friends at Safe InHome. So if we have someone who does not talk, or is not just going to pick up the phone and call us, we have to have a way to be able to check on her. She has to be able to reach out to us to let us know she doesn't feel good, she's out of milk, she needs groceries, she wants to see us, she's bored, she's lonely, whatever. So we knew that we needed to set up a system to do that. So we knew we needed some type of ring technology at the door. We needed mom or dad or a caregiver to get a ping to know she was safe to open the door. We wanted to know what was going on at night. We now know that when we get our report from Safe InHome, that it is not uncommon for Emma to be up 20 times between 2 and 4 a.m. Doing I don't know what. They're not cameras, which is wonderful. It protects her privacy, but we know she's up and out of her bed and doing something in the bedroom. So if she's having more seizures the next day or she's really unregulated, I now know why. The main thing we're using our Safe InHome tablet for now is for check-ins. She is used to hearing the ring, having her go over, touch the tablet, and seeing one of her friends at Safe InHome, greet her and her to get comfortable with them and have a conversation. But what we're hoping for Emma is it's going to be an opportunity for her to reach out if there is an emergency. Emma and her friends should be able to go out for a walk by themselves. They would not need us to always be going with them, that they're learning safety on the streets. But with all of them wearing the device, we know if anything goes wrong, we could always find them with the GPS system. I don't even think I understood what a big deal it is for someone to take care of their own medications. She's mastered this huge task that she needs to do to be able to live independently. So the device goes off with a beeper. She may or may not get up to it right away, but the beeper will go on until she addresses the medication issue. And mom or dad get to continue to do whatever they need to do wherever they are. We cannot fake the joy that she is experiencing in her life. She is living a self-determined life. This is what she wants, and she's doing it, and we could not be prouder. I would encourage families to talk to Safe InHome, do it earlier, and get this technology in place so the parents and the child, when they're ready to transition out, it would already be in place and they would have that confidence to do it.
So bear with me for 1 second here. We will get that off. Commercials, right? They're always around. So that was the story of Emma. I'm going to share my screen again and get back to our actual presentation. But I hope that video, I love it. It tells the story of Emma, her family, and her journey towards living on her own. So really, really cool. And we're going to speak to parts of that video throughout the rest of the presentation. And again, obviously answer any questions that come up. So we pull this up here. And bear with me, we're going to skip ahead here. We're already moving along to slide 3. So I got to go through a couple of those. And so as we move forward a little bit, just wanted to kind of bring this out for everybody in terms of the HCBS settings rule that's being implemented here throughout the state of Ohio. From a Safe InHome perspective, how do we adhere to this? Everything that we do is what's important for the individual, what's important to the individual, and then it's directed by them, right? So as we talk more, again, moving in this presentation forward, we're going to talk about that because really it's all about the individual that we're helping. And so we're going to show how we do that and live up to the HCBS guidelines.
Mark, I just want to, there's a black line across the lower part of your slide, like you have a box open or something. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, let me see. So a black line is open.
It's like, yeah, it goes across the screen like there's a box.
Interesting. Let's see.
If not, I don't think it, yeah, that's a different box there. I think it's low enough. I don't think it would interfere, but just to let you know that there is a black line. If there's anything in the lower part of your screen, we may not be able to see it.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, so it's weird on my end. I don't have any lines showing up, but that's how it always is, right? So,
Okay.
and I'll be cognizant of that. So thank you for letting me know. I think some of the slides may have a few things towards the bottom, so I'll make sure to point that out if you're missing it as well. I know Patty's forwarded on these slides for everybody to have, past today. So, but thank you, Patty, for letting me know, because yeah, my screen looks totally fine. I'm like, so yeah, so Patty, if there's something else, just keep me posted throughout for sure. And as we talk about remote supports and Safe in Home and who we are, it's all about empowering the individual. It's about wanting the individuals that want to live independently in their own homes, in their own community, while using remote supports and assistive technology. And when we think about remote supports, it's kind of one piece of the whole support puzzle. So when we talk about, remote supports, it's not about replacing staff or individuals or other stuff. It's about augmenting and working with others to help the individual live their best life. And here at Safe in Home, we really look at remote supports as 5 main elements. It starts right there at the center. Again, the individual that we're helping support is always going to be at the forefront. Why are we doing what we do? It's based on what they're wanting, their desires, their goals. In the upper left of this slide, you can kind of get a little bit of an idea, and I think you saw it on Emma's video a little bit. A big way in which remote supports provides the support is through technology, such as a tablet. Sometimes we use cell phones, sometimes we use geocom devices. So we have a variety of different ways in which we can stay in touch with individuals throughout the day, throughout the time that we're working together. And so that's showing you kind of a picture, a snapshot of what that were to look like. In the upper right, just kind of speaking to the weekly reports. So for everybody's different and everybody needs different information. So a lot of the sensor technology that we utilize is able to provide valuable information for individuals, for the families. In the case of Emma, if you were able to see there, they had some motion sensors that helped everybody on the team understand that at some points in time, Emma was getting up, I think she said 20, 25 times a night. Well, I think that probably led to other conversations with the team. Why was Emma up throughout the night? If somebody's tired the next day and they're going to school or going to work and they're sleepy the whole day, this type of data can help maybe understanding, oh, they were up so many times. Let's try to identify what those reasons are. In the lower left, and hopefully this isn't cut off too much for you, you have the picture. It looks like someone holding an eyeball. That's really a motion sensor. So again, a lot of what we do from Safe in Home perspective is we use sensor technology. Sensor technology enables us to help individuals while individuals still have their independence, their privacy. Again, they're not cameras, but can provide a lot of information. So door sensors, window sensors, motion sensors, water leak sensors. So there's a wide array that we utilize to help support individuals to remain safe in their homes. In the bottom right, this is just a very small snapshot of some of the technology that we actually use to help provide the remote support. So a medication dispenser, which again, Emma was utilizing in the video, you saw that, a video doorbell, tablet, geocom, and we're going to talk about some of these different pieces as we move forward, but they're really just the tools for how we provide the support. Our remote support staff are the ones providing that support on a day-to-day basis. So again, it goes back to the individual. It's a person-centered approach. We're providing individualized solutions. They're developed by the individual as well as the care circle. So many of you on this call obviously are here because you might have loved ones or individuals you work with. We want to work with all of you to get to know who we're going to possibly help support, and then design a program based around their goals, desires, needs, that sort of thing. Remote supports is a learning environment. It's supportive and safe. And again, we'll be able to show some different examples of that throughout. Probably saw a little bit of that already with Emma. And it's that next step to independence. For some, that might mean an hour of alone time in the morning. For others, it might mean a little bit of alone time overnight. So independence is different for everybody. For some, it may be they're transitioning to their first job, and maybe they need some support the night before, the morning of. Maybe it's even during work, where we can do some things remotely as well. So remote support staff are always available 24/7. So that's the really nice benefit as well. We're always going to be available for someone when we're supporting them. If they need something, they can reach out. We definitely saw during, we know COVID is still here and around, but when we were really going through the heart of it all, and people were really secluded in their own places, the amount of calls to our remote support staff, just needing that one-on-one, having somebody to talk to, is a big part of what we do, is being there for somebody when they need us. So this next slide shows a little bit about how remote supports works. And when we say that, the technology itself, the sensor technology, plus the other technology that we can utilize based on the individual's needs and wants, we have roughly 60 different types. So again, today is not about going into the in and outs of each piece of technology, but again, you've seen a little bit of some of those already: medication dispensers, video doorbells. In the living room, there may be a smart button if somebody needs to help if they were to fall. In the bathrooms, the kitchens are very sensitive areas where a lot of accidents could happen. Automatic stove shutoffs to water leak sensors, a wide array of different things that we could help in terms of utilizing sensor technology coupled with the remote support help. And so this kind of speaks to that, right? It can be utilized throughout the home. And in some cases, again, we do have that mobile technology that Emma was wearing. She had a GeoComm device, which is a device that can be used out in the community, runs off cell service for somebody to communicate with natural supports or with remote support staff. So to be able to stay connected, had a very easy way to do so. The next slide here, just wanted to kind of give a few other examples. So Emma is somebody that we're currently supporting. These are 3 other individual stories. Now these names have been changed just to protect their privacy. But for Marty here, disability, moderate intellectual disability, before remote supports, he left home at pretty much any time of day and night. Oftentimes he ended up in some dangerous situations. Obviously, if we leave home at certain times, if it's overnight, that sort of thing, not a lot of good things happen at certain times of the day. But then we worked, with Marty, with his team, to put a plan together before supports came in place, incorporated some motion sensor assistive technology and then remote support staff. And we saw a dramatic reduction in the amount of times that he's leaving home. And we find that to happen many times because individuals, when they leave home, they're seeking something. And a lot of times that's just some alone time, independence, those sort of things. And so if we're able to provide that for an individual in a safe way at home, many times they don't want to leave home. So really, really kind of cool for Marty that's helped him in terms of wanting to stay at home, and he's safer and has support that's helping him meet his goals. Nate experiences some mild IDD, autism, anxiety, has anxiousness when someone's at the door while home alone. Also, mom is his medication reminder system. And, Nate was wanting to transition from mom maybe helping with that to doing it more on his own. Video doorbell tech for visitor safety is one thing that we put in place to help with that anxiousness when somebody came to the home. And I think we'll talk about it a little bit more throughout this, but I might as well just touch on it right now. When it comes to visitor safety and that sort of thing, we can incorporate remote supports with a video doorbell, things like that. So as when If the door is open, let's say by Nate in this case, we can have a protocol put in place where we turn on that camera. If we're notified by Nate ahead of time as well, that he doesn't know who's at his door and is feeling anxious, we could actually talk through that video doorbell from a remote support side of things and to help engage in conversation who it might be out there. Yeah, how can we help you today? Well, just UPS dropping off a package. Okay, thank you. So we can help with those type of situations where there's maybe somebody at the door that an individual doesn't recognize. So some other parts of that support plan that were put in place, a communication tablet, also for some wellness and medication management check-ins. And so instead of mom maybe having to tell Nate every day to take his meds, we can look at it a little bit differently, incorporate some of that technology, incorporate remote supports who aren't going to tell Nate what to do. They're trained, and I'll talk about the training of our remote support staff here in just a little bit, but they're trained really to talk with Nate, to remind Nate, like, hey, have you taken your meds today? No, I haven't yet. Okay, remember you want to eat some food with that, drink some water, that sort of thing. So it's a different type of relationship that is built as opposed to the one in which someone might be in the home telling Nate what to do. And then the other part of the support there, a geocom device Nate utilizes to communicate with remote supports and his natural supports. So again, that's at the push of a button, has access to speak to whoever he would like. And it's a really nice piece of technology. And so with that, he's in college out of state, doing really well, obviously gaining independence as he goes to school. Last, we have Katie, schizophrenia, bipolar. So what, in terms of Katie, she was constantly calling 911 or case managers. Many times it was for pretty simple things, really not emergency type of situations. So it might have been, again, somebody rang my doorbell, that sort of thing. And so again, working with her team and with Katie, we're able to design some motion sensor technology, add in the remote support staff. And Katie quickly learned by utilizing remote supports, instead of calling 911, we were much happier to talk with her and pretty much helped her better find the answer she was looking for. So many times, call 911, obviously not the right place to call when there's not an emergency, probably wasn't getting the exact demeanor and response she was looking for. And so she learned pretty quickly by, working with us at remote supports that she could get the answer she was looking for, somebody who was happy, positive, and also helping her solve whatever it might be in terms of the problem or just wanting to talk with somebody. So really kind of cool to hear her story as I've been with SafeinHome. And I think a real main point here to remember that remote supports, it's not a thing, it is a service. So, and it's also not about replacing humans with technology, right? So many of the individuals that we've already talked about have other support systems throughout the day. Maybe it's someone that helps with transportation, maybe it's a job coach on the job, maybe it's some HBC staff throughout the day. So it's working with all those other support systems. It's not about replacing anybody. In fact, SafeinHome now operates in 14 states. We have yet to replace one direct service professional. And so it's about becoming part of that team, not replacing anyone with a piece of technology or remote support staff. And just wanted to touch upon, again, our remote support staff are trained just like any other DSP is in the state of Ohio. So go through the same certification process. And on top of that, we have our own internal trainings. One of those is what's called acceptance commitment therapy. And so it's non-directive. It helps to build authentic relationships. It's continually and stable. And so with ACT, again, it's helping individuals find the answer themselves. It's not about us telling somebody what to do. It's about helping redirect sometimes. Other times it's just with simple reminders. But at no time are we telling somebody, take your medicines, don't leave your house, don't do this. It's a much different approach in terms of that. And so our staff goes through a variety of different trainings to help build those authentic relationships. And as we move along here a little bit, let me check our time. I know we're getting close to about a half hour, but I just have a few additional slides and then we'll open it up here for some questions. And so what are some of the different areas that we can help individuals as they transition into whatever stage of life it might be? In this case, if it's transitioning to maybe going to college, maybe it's your first job, maybe it's just, I want a little bit more alone time at home with mom and dad. We can help in a variety of ways with all of those things. So for some individuals that might experience seizures, we have different technology and remote supports that we can couple together there. We talked a little bit about medication management. That's a big area in which we help individuals with daily reminders, couple that with some technology as well to help dispense some of those medicines. Again, today, transition age youth, right? Transitioning into whatever it might be. Again, there's new jobs, new school, new this, a lot of things happening. We're going to be able to help, and we only know that once we get to meet with the individual and the family of, okay, where can we maybe help with whatever barrier it might be that's preventing someone from moving into their own apartment? Is it that they're wanting to cook all the time and maybe not understanding fully the safety requirements of that? And could we involve some remote supports and technology to help with that? It could be any number of things. Elopement is another area in which we help individuals. We talked about it a little bit earlier in terms of as individuals experience more independence and alone times, we see that elopement, that wandering actually starts to reduce. And again, visitor safety is a big one as well. And there are some of the pieces of technology listed here. But again, those are something we get into the tools of it as we get to know somebody. We can propose different solutions to help somebody. So just some of the different areas in which we're able to help individuals as they, again, transition in life. Really quickly, just to kind of talk about how the process works for somebody to just start the conversations. It's as easy as, like today, we're talking, but beyond today, if anybody on this call wants more information, at the end of this slide, I have my information as well as Leah. Leah couldn't join us tonight, but she lives and works in Southwest Ohio. So she's directly working in the communities that she lives in. And so it's about having a consultation. We work with the county boards. Again, we're working with all county boards across the state of Ohio. So we would work with the case manager, work with the team, set up a meeting with the individual obviously involved. And then we talk, we get to know, we develop a proposal fairly quickly. We send that back to the county board for approval. And then once that occurs and we tweak some things, that sort of thing, we work towards installation of any of the technology aspect. And at the same time, we're working on developing a support plan, again, utilizing the case manager to help us with that so that we know exactly how we want to help support as we move forward. So it's a pretty easy steps moving forward. Again, it's really as simple as reaching out to us or having case manager reach out to us, and then we can start those conversations. So we've come to the last slide in our presentation. Again, my name is Mark Prohaska. I kind of help all over Ohio. Leah Ali Johnson is the main point of contact in Southwest Ohio, services roughly 14 counties from Montgomery down to Hamilton. So if you reach out to me or Leah, we'll be able to kind of start that ball moving forward to really talk, again, more about whoever the specific individual is that we'd like to see how we can possibly help live a more independent life in their own place, or maybe it is at home with mom and dad, finding more alone time, that sort of thing. So I am going to stop sharing. And again, I know Patty is going to be able to share this information. She's already done it, I believe, in the chat, but I'll follow up even tomorrow, probably with an email to Patty that she can share as well. So
yeah, so go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to say stop. So that's the presentation. Hopefully I didn't go on too long, but I'm sure hopefully that was helpful. in terms of a broad overview of some of the things that we're able to do. We didn't get into the real nitty gritty of, we offer a variety of locks to help individuals who maybe have dexterity issues. So if visitor safety or just safety in general. So there's a lot of technology we weren't able to cover today, but please know there's a lot more that we're able to help with. And it really starts with the conversation moving forward. So I'm sorry, Patty, that was really it there.
Thank you, Mark. I'm going to close the recording and then we can open up with some questions or discussions because in case you have anything, I don't want to record anything. If you have any general or personal information, we don't want to share that. Just a quick, there was a question which would be helpful for anybody listening will be, do you cover the whole state question mark and nation question mark?
Yeah, so we have had conversations with all 88 counties. We actively we're supporting at least one individual. I think and it changes almost by the day, but I think we're at roughly 72 counties that we're actually supporting at least one individual. Obviously, some counties are kind of already more ahead of the curve than others. And so some have really embraced remote supports and assistive tech, and we might be serving 20 or 30 individuals. Right now, we are going to, across the nation, we'll be at 2,000 individuals supported on a day-to-day basis here, probably hit that number in the next month. And we are in roughly 14 states. That also changes as Medicaid changes and the rules throughout different states, and they adapt what Ohio is doing, because really Ohio is, it truly is amazing to see how Ohio is a leader in many fronts when it comes to helping individuals. And I know many of you already probably know that, but it really is truly looked at that when we have conversations with new states who are thinking about remote supports and assistive tech. Many times that conversation drives back to Ohio, who's been doing it just about as long as anyone and is really seen as a model. And so we're looking at expanding as states embrace this. We're there to help that. So I would imagine we'll be in a few more states, by the end of 2023. It just, a lot of those political and things have to take place for these things to kind of take place. But if somebody has questions offline, feel free to reach out if you're thinking about a specific state. I could always share with you if we're already operating in that state. Or if it's something that may be coming in the future.
There is another question. If Emma is up 20 times a night, how do you know she's not having seizures and she is okay?
Yeah, so with Emma, so we have different technology. And so for some individuals, we would know right from the get-go, like if we met with Emma before she came on supports, one, does she experience any sort of seizure activity? Emma might, Emma may not. If Emma does, we have different technology that can help identify for certain types of seizure activity. So those type of seizures that present themselves more in a physical manner. We have seizure detection bed sensors. We also have a seizure detection wristband, those sort of things. There's other types of seizures, obviously, that don't involve as much of that movement. And so some of those are a little bit more difficult for us to help identify. We would then look at how can we help in terms of mitigating seizure activity. So for some individuals, it may be they're just not drinking enough water throughout the day, which could lead to more seizures happening. For others, they're not sleeping well at certain times of the day. And so that's deeper conversations. But with Emma, for example, from what I know, I didn't work with Emma directly, but in terms of her support plan, they had motion sensors just to help identify her movements throughout her apartment, and they realized that she was up so many times, which led them to further conversations to figure out what was Emma doing up so many times. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was with Emma. I think it was something about going to the bathroom, quite frequently, that sort of thing. And then they talked about that. So it leads into further conversations. And so we want to be able to provide some data if that's what the individual and family would like and need, then it's very beneficial. I hope that answered the question.
So I'm going to go ahead and close the recording. Thank you, Mark, again. And then for anybody who wants to, just not type a question in, they can just go ahead and ask it. But again, thank you for presenting during our SALT Teens and Me tonight. It's very helpful to know our choices. This has been very helpful. So 1 second while I close the recording. Here we go.